Now, let's shift from bad news to good news. After all, this show isn't just about the bad shit, it's about art and fun and laughing and thinking and wine and more art. And not just any art, art with teeth. Founded by artist Keef Ward, Art with Teeth is exactly what it sounds like. A collection of sharpened and pointed pieces of art that dig into the establishment and challenge the status quo through creativity. I talked to Keith this past week about Art with Teeth, the role of creatives in pushing for change, and some artists you absolutely need to check out now. Take a look. Why activist art? Why not just art?
Well, okay. I feel like, for one thing, if the creative class isn't going to do anything about the challenges that are facing us as a species, who's going to? I mean, it's not going to be the politicians. It's not going to be the business people. It's always been the creatives that are pushing cultural change. And so with all the artists asleep at the wheel, we're doomed. So this was sort of like a call to arms to get artists to do their part, to recognize the responsibility of their gifts.
So you do feel that it's the responsibility of artists to comment on socio and political issues through their art?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. You know, if not us, who? Writers, musicians, painters.
What would you say to an artist who says, like, well, oh, I'm just not political, so that's why I don't do political art?
Yeah. I think of this thing, do you know the artist Anthony Frida, the New York artist? Yeah. So Frida was talking about how it always frustrates him when people say that they're not political, because it's sort of like saying, like, I don't mind that my couch is on fire. You know, it's fine. You're good with that? Fine. It just means you're not paying attention. That means, like, I choose not to engage in the challenges of the world. I prefer to live a delusional fucking life. Are we swearing on here?
Oh, you can say fuck, shit, ass. You can say whatever you want. All of the above. So how would people start to incorporate activism into their lives or politics? Like, if you just start paying attention, how can you start infusing whatever you might be passionate about doing, whether that's art, music, or cooking, or whatever? How would you start infusing the socio-political actions into that?
Yeah, well, try and marry it with what's happening in your life. Like, another one of the sides of Art with Teeth is that I'm trying to kind of like make a living at making art and make a platform for activist artists, and to show that there is a demand for this kind of art. And clearly there is. My page has grown really fast. It's been like a year and a few months, and we're like just about to 20 grand. No ads, like not a dime spent, all organic. There was a twofold thing in Art with Teeth to show that there was a demand for it, and also to hold galleries accountable. When it gets big enough, I want to rate galleries. I want to go in and have crowds, rate them with a star system from toothless to razor sharp, and then sort of publicly shame them into doing their part, to holding up their responsibility. I mean, they've got these cathedrals for art, and they're showing completely vague, vapid work that's like a video piece about a sculpture that doesn't mean anything, that you don't understand unless you read the huge long statement and no Kant, or whatever it is.
I mean, why do you think that there's been that sort of apathy in art?
Well, I think it's gone to the tower. I mean, it's sort of what's happening with society. There's this two-tiered thing where the rich are getting richer, and art's getting into that gated community land. It's a commodity. It's lost its communication, I feel like.
So I'm curious, where do you find all these artists that you put onto Art with Teeth?
Oh, yeah. Well, so I grew up loving, feisty motherfuckers. And actually, I took some notes from my earlier stuff. So like Herring, Basquiat, Jenny Holzer, Barbara Kruger, Ron English, Kiki Smith, they were all really early formative influences for me. And so I always loved art that says something. I mean, you've got this vehicle that you can communicate with. And if you're not saying anything, you're wasting the vehicle. So it really kicked in, in my teens. I grew up in Orange County in California, and was always very political. I mean, it's a super right-wing, conservative kind of suburban. It's like the beginning of any Steven Spielberg film. like that first 5 minutes before everything goes crazy. That's where I grew up. So it always drove me crazy. At that point, I was really into Model United Nations, and I was like a big debater and really verbally active. And so at that point, I sort of switched my focus to visual stuff, all culminating around a trip to New York City in like '86, where I ditched all my delegations and rode the subway and checked out Keith Haring's art, and Basquiat was alive then, and all of that stuff. And so I was just like, oh, well, this is what I should be doing. And so I've been working towards that. I haven't completely arrived, but in the meantime, I thought I should celebrate these people that have been my heroes my whole life. So that's how Art with Teeth was created.
What are, I know I usually hate when people are like, what are your favorite musicians? But if somebody said like, okay, I have no idea what a political artist even does, like I have no idea, what would be some political artists that you would say you have to check these out right now?
I'd send him to Anthony Frida. I'd send him to, there's this guy out of the Midwest called Vincent. Vincent's pretty fucking amazing. I'd send him to C.S. Stanley out of Indianapolis, Plastic Jesus, Los Angeles, Recycled Propaganda out of Vegas. Let's see, Joe Webb from England, Alex Schaefer from Los Angeles. He does the Burning Banks. Yeah, I mean, I feel really bad because like I've got 10,000 images in Art with Teeth and I should be able to just rattle this stuff off, but I tend to work in like this week's set. And so like that's who I'm really into right now. So we tend to do a run of one artist for a day or another day.
Talk a little bit about how you see the role of art and activism. I know you said that if creatives are asleep at the wheel, then we're all doomed. But how do you see, like if they were awake at the wheel, how do you see them having a role in pushing for socio-political change? What do you see that looking like?
Let's say the Foo Fighters started talking like Rage Against the Machine. Like that's how it would look. It would just be infusions of content, infusions of message, like not being scared of going against the big companies. It would be like a challenge. I mean, it would be more like the 70s.
And making it cool to be against the big companies and making it cool and sexy to be political and socially engaged. Art with Teeth had a gallery showing. Is that something that you're going to do more of in the future? Oh,
totally. Love to. Miss Jennifer LaRue of Terra Obscura did our first show in Spokane, Washington. And we got Jilly Ballistic from Brooklyn and C.S. Stanley from Indianapolis. And then the founding partner, Ryan Noble, and myself, we all had works in it. And so it was our first like physical show, and it was really nice to kind of like transcend the digital barrier. So yeah, I would love to do more of them. I would love to tour it for any galleries out in anywhere, really. If you have people that would appreciate this kind of work, I would love to show it.
For more information on Art with Teeth, visit the link below.